Hello everyone! Salt and Pepper Shaker Shakespeare Company proudly presents The Winter's Tale by William Shakespeare. Once upon a time, on the island of Sicily, there lived a king whose name was Leontes. He had a beautiful wife, Hermione, and together they had a beautiful son, Mamillius. Now the king had a very good friend, another king, the king of Bohemia, named Polixenes, who had come to visit him. And when the play opens, they are all together on the island of Sicily, and the opening scene is their servants, the servant of Polixenes and the servant of Leontes speaking together. And I'll introduce the servant of Leontes. His name is Camillo, and he's a very important character and a very sturdy fellow, which is why you see him represented like this. So they're speaking together and they say, oh, you know, it's so nice to see the kings together. They really get along very well. Nothing could separate these two. They are such good friends. But in the next moment, you see the kings walking along and Polixenes is saying, well, I've been here for 9 months. I really need to be going. Thank you, Leontes, but I have to go. And Leontes says, no, please, just stay with me a little bit longer, a month longer, a week longer, anything. And Polixenes says, no, look, I really have to go. And believe me, Leontes, if anyone could make me stay, it would be you. And Leontes says, oh, Hermione, you speak to him, see if you can get him to stay. So Hermione says, all right, Polixenes, don't you want to stay with us a little bit longer? Oh no, madam, I really have to go. But she's very sweet and she's very persuasive. And finally he says, all right, I'll stay longer. And so Leontes comes and he asks him, will he stay? Is he won yet? And Hermione says, he'll stay, my lord, just what you asked. I got him to stay. And she's speaking with him. And Leontes sees them talking together and he starts thinking, when I asked Polixenes to stay, he said no. But when she asked him to stay, he said yes. And he starts thinking, I think they're having an affair. She's 9 months pregnant. He's been here for 9 months. Maybe she's pregnant with his child. And then he looks at his own son, Mamillius, and he begins to wonder, are you my son? And so this evil bug starts brewing in Leontes' head, that he believes that his wife, Hermione, is having an affair with Polixenes. So he calls his good servant to him, Camillo, and he says, good Camillo, I think something is wrong and I need to ask you about it. Camillo says, yes, of course, tell me anything. And Leontes says, I think my wife is having an affair with Polixenes. And what's more, I think there's a plot to kill me. I think they're trying to overthrow me. And Camillo says, my lord, are you nuts? Are you crazy? Your wife, the best, sweetest woman in the world, and your best friend, Polixenes? How can this be? But Leontes won't hear anything of it, and he says, Camillo, you have to understand, I have seen this, I know they're having an affair, and I want you to poison Polixenes for me. And Camillo says, oh, my lord, all right, I'll do it. If you're so sure, I'll do it. And Leontes says, good, and he storms off. Now Camillo is a good man, and he knows that Polixenes and Hermione are innocent. So in this next moment, Polixenes comes and he says, Camillo, what's happening? What's the news in the court? And Camillo says, oh my lord, I hate to tell you this, but Leontes thinks that you're having an affair with his queen, Hermione. And Polixenes says, how could he think that? We're best friends. And Camillo says, don't worry about why he thinks that, but he does. And he's out to kill you. He asked me to kill you. And Polixenes says, kill me? I don't know what to think. And Camillo says, let's get out of here. Sir, take me with you because I can't stay here. Leontes will be so angry with me if he finds out I told you. And he says, you have to take me with you. Let's fly back to your country, to Bohemia. And Polixenes says, all right, I see no other choice. Let's go. And they leave. Back to Bohemia. Now, in the next scene, the queen, who's 9 months pregnant, is playing with her son, Mamillius. He's telling her a little story, whispering it in her ear. And in this moment, Leontes storms in and he says, give me the boy. And he accuses her of being an adulteress. And he says, that baby that you're carrying inside of you, it's Polixenes' baby. It's not mine. And Hermione says, my lord, what are you talking about? She's very surprised. Of course, she's an innocent lady. But he'll have none of it, and he says, away with you to prison. I'll have nothing to do with you until your trial. And she's very calm, and she says, all right, my lord, I'll go to prison, because I'm so sure of my innocence. I know I'll be proved innocent, and you'll be sorry for what you've done. So she goes to prison. And Leontes, at this moment, sends two servants, Cleomenes and Dion, off to the oracle at Delphos, and he says, you must ask the oracle if my wife is chaste or if she's been having an affair. This is your question for the oracle. And they go off to Delphos to find out. Now, Hermione has a good friend, Paulina. And Paulina hears about what's happened to her best friend, the queen, and she goes to the prison and she asks one of the queen's ladies-in-waiting for the baby, because the queen was early delivered in prison. She gave birth to the little baby in prison. And she says, I will take the baby before the king, and when he sees it, he'll know that it's his, and he'll feel compassion, and he'll free his wife, and all will be well again. So she takes the little baby that was born in the prison, and she brings it before King Leontes. And she says, look, my lord, here's your baby. It looks exactly like you. It's not Polixenes' child, it's yours. But he looks at the baby and he says, this is not my child. Get rid of it. Take it out. Burn it. Leave it in some desert place. I don't care. And Paulina really lays into him. She says, sir, you must believe this is your child. Your queen is innocent and you're just a jealous tyrant. I'm going to leave the child here. You look at it and you'll see that it's really yours. But that wasn't such the best idea, because Leontes looks at the baby and he says, kill it. My lords, kill it. I don't want to have anything to do with it. And all of his lords say, sir, you're crazy. This is your child and your good queen. And he goes, roar, I don't want to hear it. Any of you. And you, Antigonus, who is also the husband of Paulina, he says, if you're so keen to save this baby's life, you take the baby and you leave it in some remote desert place on some mountaintop and leave it to the animals. That's the mercy I will show this baby. So, at the trial of Hermione, she's called forth to speak for herself because no one else can speak for her. The king has told everyone, who speaks for her dies. So she's all alone. And she says, my lord, I'm not guilty of this that you're accusing me. But I see that I just must be patient and wait for Apollo. She calls out to Apollo in the oracle, you be my judge. And in this moment, the two messengers, Cleomenes and Dion, come back from Delphos, and they have a message from the oracle, and they read it out, and they say, Hermione is innocent, Leontes a jealous tyrant, his babe truly begotten, and he shall live without an heir, if that which is lost be not found. Hermione breathes a sigh of relief. I'm saved. But Leontes is mad, and he throws the oracle's message on the ground, and he says, this isn't truth. He said, I am the one who knows, not the oracle. And in that moment, in runs a servant, and they say, Your Highness, Your Highness. And they say, what is it? What is it? They say, oh, the prince, my lord, the prince, your son, is dead. Oh. And when Hermione hears this, that her son is dead, she faints, she collapses. And Paulina runs over and says, get her away, take care of her. And they run Hermione off. And the king goes, oh, what have I done? Apollo is angry with me. He was right, and my queen was innocent. And now my son is dead, I've sent away my child. And in that moment, in comes Paulina, and she says, there's more. Your queen is dead. You killed her, Leontes. Your cruelty has killed the queen. And Leontes is filled with grief and remorse, and in that moment he is sorry for what he has done. But it's too late, he's lost his whole family. Paulina says, I'm sorry, I've been too rough with you. I see that you're repentant. So now the two of them will spend many years in mourning for those that are lost. So Antigonus, because he has sworn to do it, he's sworn his oath to the king, he takes the baby, he puts it in a basket, with a little message about who she is, that she's of royal blood, and some money. He puts them all in a basket, and he takes it and he sails across the sea to Bohemia, where Polixenes is king. And he leaves the baby there. And he says, "Dear child, I'm sorry to do this, but I see no other choice." And in this moment, as he's leaving, he's walking away, there's a big storm. And in this moment, a bear comes and eats Antigonus. And that's the end of Antigonus. Now, this little baby is laying very patiently in her basket, and who should come along in this moment but a pair of shepherds, a father and a son. And they heard the sea was very loud, and they heard a man screaming, and oh, what's this? What do we find here? A baby, they say. Oh, very pretty baby. And what's this? Gold! We're rich, we're rich, we're rich by the fairies! And a letter. Oh, this must be a very special baby. So they say, "Come, boy, come. Let's take the baby. We'll raise it up as our own." And they run away with little baby Perdita, as they decide to call her, which means lost.